What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's this week. Today is September 11th. It's a Thursday. I'm going to be going over the two trades that I took today. Pretty simple. We'll start from the top here. Okay, so overall market structure, we're still bullish. We're no longer in all-time highs, but we're kind of in that area regardless. So we're still working off of the same order blocks that we have been for the last couple of days. So here's first break, here's second break. So if I'm bullish, what I'm looking for higher time frame confluences that align with that bias. So any liquidity grabs, any order blocks. So here's the first order block here. Now we were kind of in an area this morning where the bias could have flipped. This 4-hour swing low here, if price had closed below it, then we would have turned bearish, right? Because we have one break here and the second break would have been here. If it wicked it like it did, then we're going to look for, it's going to be considered a continuation. Now, even if it did close below this low, we still probably would have looked for longs, but as a counter trend long, not a continuation. Regardless, this is actually what happened. So just a continuation. So I want to jump down to the 1 hour and I want to see what's going on here. 1 hour is bearish at this point, and we did just grab the high up here. So again, we're kind of in a area where we're playing like ping pong between the two. So I want to see what the 15-minute is doing. 15-minute did break to the upside, so that to me is more of a bullish confluence. Actually, is that? Oh yeah, so technically the 1 hour also had an internal break. So this is like a fresh order block that we can use. So again, because we're overall bullish, I want to look for bullish confluences, right? So here's my 1 hour. The 15-minute kind of sits in between it as well. So again, I'm a lot more confident going long than short. So just like that. So at this point, what am I looking for? I'm jumping down to the 5-minute for my entries. 6:30 news candle came out. Now, technically, during London session around 3 in the morning is when price took out the 4-hour liquidity, confirming that we could probably look for longs. But according to fractal rules, so if I'm looking at the market, fractal rules go back 1 to 2 hours. 2 hours is max, is kind of pushing it. And so you can see the first break in our favor here happened at like 5:55. So this is technically where I would consider my first break. So we would have one break here, second break here, third break here. So when we're sitting at 3 breaks, right, it's a lot quicker to invalidate the setup or the structure, because if it has 2 breaks to the downside, then we have to look for fresh fractals. Now the 6:30 news came out and swept out a lot more liquidity, which is what I like to see better. So from here, because we have 3 breaks already and we have this giant news candle, when I started to look at the market, I got up a little bit late today, but that's okay. I want to consider this break here, an internal break, as my first break in my structure, right? So if I'm going to be using this as the first break, where's my liquidity? So liquidity sitting here now at the swing low. Liquidity was grabbed. Now technically it closed below the low as well. So if it closes again, so if it goes break, and then if it broke below this candle, then this setup was invalidated. But as you can see, it just wick transferred instead. So the setup was still valid. So liquidity was grabbed. Price action level is sitting right here. So we have all of our entry confluences. So now it's about how do we get in, right? Where is our entry going to be? Is it based off the 5-minute candle closure or a 1-minute EMA? Now, today was a bit interesting because I got in on a really late entry. Like it was fucking bad. It was a bad entry. It was based off of the 1-minute candle closing above the price action level and the EMA. And so I started to see it kind of take off a little bit more. And so I think I got in like up here somewhere. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, so I got in like around here. Now, technically what I should have done, the better thing to do was to wait for a 5-minute candle closure and then a retest, right? I was waiting for a retest on the 1 minute, but I kept seeing it kind of push up, and so I think I FOMO'd just a little bit and I got in late. Now I'm going to explain two scenarios. Both scenarios would have ended up being partial take profit and break even. So scenario one, right, which is the best scenario, which is where I wait for the retest of that PA level. I didn't wait because sometimes you can get left behind, and I didn't want to get left behind, so I got in again, and that resulted in a bad entry. If I had waited, I think I did 60 ticks as a stop loss, right? This trade would have been partials and break even, just like that. Now, the entry that I actually did get in on, again, I think it was like somewhere up here, some shit like that. What I ended up doing was, because I had such a late entry and I didn't like it, I wanted to manage my risk well, because there's a couple of things wrong with this entry, right? One, it's super high up, and my stop loss isn't covering structure. So it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, which isn't good. So we started to kind of move up towards close to like my partial level, and so I actually cut my stop loss in half, like up to like here or something like that. So price came back down towards this break even level, and that's where I actually closed out for break even. I just decided to close the position because I wanted to manage my position well, so that's what I did. Now it's kind of contradicting, because it's like, okay, I can manage my position well, or I should have just stuck committed to, when you're entering a trade, it's like, consider that money gone, right? Like that's your cost of doing business or executing. So when you enter a trade, you commit to your stop loss and you commit to your take profit. You commit to your risk management plan. In this case, again, I think I was banking on the fact that I had a bad entry, which is why I wanted to like dynamically control it. Now, if I had just left it alone, the bad entry setup could have also resulted in partials and break even. So again, I dynamically kind of controlled it. I moved my stop loss, and then I just closed it at break even. Now, what did I see afterwards? I got in on a second trade. Now, I was pretty confident in this trade, but I don't think I should have been in it because I was kind of breaking rules. Like, I only traded like one setup a day, but technically I didn't lose any money, so I was like, okay, like I can still risk money today. This one's pretty like simple. Really what it was I only had one confluence in terms of like an entry, which was a liquidity sweep, right? Like right here. I don't technically have a break-in structure because you can see it just keeps transferring the wicks, no candle closure above it. So that means that if I don't actually have a close, this order block sitting right here is not valid. So I really only had one confluence. The other confluence to it though was the fact that the 1 minute is, the price action on 1 minute was sitting above the EMA and coming into the price action level. So I was like, I'm pretty confident in this entry. So I got in like around here, did the same 60 pip stop loss. It was like it's like something like that. And overall, we were able to achieve partials and break even again. So not horrible day, but like again, I've kind of like mixed emotions. So this was my second setup, right? So to review, first setup was valid. Best thing I could have done was wait for the retest and partials and break even, but that didn't happen. So I got in on a late entry. With that one, again, I should commit to SL or TP, which would have resulted in partials and break even. But I think because of the bad entry, I wanted to manage my risk well. So I think that kind of like balanced each other out. Second trade, technically shouldn't have been in it. I think I'm like over trading at this point. It's not a part of my plan to do that, but I was pretty confident in the confluences Actually, honestly, I didn't have that great of a confluence. I only had a liquidity grab, right? And I see this huge engulfing candle, so I just knew that price was going to push up overall using like volume. And luckily I was able to do partials and break even with that, right? So emotional notes, I know when I entered the second trade, like my heart rate like fucking started beating. So I was like, man, I should not be in this trade. And because I normally, it's out of the routine for me to enter a second trade. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I think we did perform pretty well today. Managed our risks well. Setups were valid. Again, we just gotta be a bit more precise and clean with our entries. And but yeah, it's kind of crazy. All three scenarios resulted in partials and break even. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see if there's a setup tomorrow, and if not, then we've had a decent week. 2 winners, 1 loss, and that's it. See you guys later.